Okay, so David, stay here with us right now, but now I want to go to welcome in John Sitilides, who is a global risk analyst for Trilogy Advisors. John, thank you so much for joining us. So even though we are hearing from reporters on the ground in France that there is a sense of relief amongst the French, you say this election is more about buying time than truly achieving relief. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of relief for a segment of the French population that was terrified of what a National Front victory would portend for the country. But I think the problem for France is that it remains in a very difficult condition and will likely remain so for the foreseeable future. This is a country that was once among the most powerful, if not the most powerful in Europe, that is now being rendered by what seems to be nearly permanent underemployment for a large swath of its young population. You have the problem of illegal or unassimilating immigrants in the country that threaten the former fabric of so-called multiculturalism in the country. And you also have terrorism that has rendered much of the country very vulnerable, or at least a sense of vulnerability, to very uncertain and unknown threats. You couple that with the geopolitical pressures coming in on France and the rest of Europe from Russia, and you see a country that really has not decided what it is, where it's going, and what the future is for its relationship with the EU.
David, what do you think about that?
I think that one of the biggest challenges for Macron to be able to do the political change that France was not able to do. Germany was able to do it, the UK was able to do it, even Netherlands, but France never was able to do that economically, for his immigration, so that's the biggest challenge.
And John, coming back to you, do you think that Macron's victory means really the beginning of the end for the rise of populism?
I don't. I will admit, I don't think anybody really knows what this means. Even the French electorate wasn't very clear. I believe the data shows that we have the highest abstention rate from the French election since 1969. So I think what we really see, first of all, is a large number of French voters simply held their nose, either voting for candidates they thought would not really be better for France, but was the lesser of two evils, or a large number of French voters simply sat out the election, which is not healthy for French democracy. And the collapse right now of the center-left and center-right remains very uncertain. We don't know what is coming in France in a year or in 2 years. And as my colleague has noted, there are tremendous pressures and tremendous challenges right now on Mr. Macron. But I think without a working majority in the National Assembly, it's going to be very difficult for him to be able to put together the kind of agenda that may be satisfactory in Paris and other major cities, but in hollowed out French towns and villages, there's a sense of disdain and frustration. And the problem is that maybe the National Front was not the best party to carry an oppositional message forward. So I think there's as much pressure now on Marine Le Pen to redefine, reframe her party, which has been so loathed and despised by so many voters over the years.
So even though you are both talking about there being a lot of unknowns and uncertainty, and certainly Macron has to get this majority before he can really truly do anything, and apparently he is...
Or find the right party to collaborate with, because
right.
even if he doesn't have a majority of his own party, En Marche or République En Marche, now that he changed the name, he still can govern with the conservative right or with the socialists. So that's like the challenge would be a great challenge, is to like bring people together from the left and from the right to actually change France the way he wants to change it.
And to your point then, do you think that he sort of represents a new kind of hope for the country?
Yeah, it does. There is a lot of young people that really believe that they never had, like, all the politicians were professional politicians for like the past 40 years. But if you look back the time after World War II, like the politicians, they were 28 years old, Chaban-Delmas, Mitterrand, they were very young people. So he represents, he's 39 years old, but he represents a fresh start for the French politics.
All right, David Benaim and John Sitilides, thank you so much for joining us.